The object of Taxi Chronicles is to allow real riders with real stories, share their experience and enhance your life. So sit back and enjoy the journey. Morning. Yes, we're back with another episode, another rider. Today we have, what's your name? I didn't get your name.
It's Ursulan. It's like Aslan from Narnia.
Okay.
Yeah.
You hear that? Aslan from Narnia. And he's a graphic designer, and he also has a love for everything like Marvel, DC, Star Wars, all those kind of characters. We've been having interesting conversations about it. So I just thought, why not let him share his gift and love of knowledge of the graphic design and that industry. So nice to have you here today.
Yeah, likewise, mate.
So tell us, why the graphic design industry, and how long and what was the route you took to get into it?
It's a quite interesting story. I did my bachelor's in computer sciences. It has nothing to do with graphic designing. But my family genetically has a really strong art side.
Okay.
So I pursued my hobbies, got into a company back in Islamabad. I worked with them for 8 years, and then I moved to London. So yeah, we started off with Facebook games. I was the 2D artist at first. Then I started doing the 3D work as well.
Okay.
Yes.
I didn't know Facebook had games.
Oh, the ones from Zynga and all. The things that you play in Facebook, like the Mafia Wars, stuff like that. Farmville.
Oh, is it?
And things like that, yeah.
No, this is totally new to me, but okay. So you said your family have an artistic background. Was your dad an artist or your mum an artist?
My grandfather's brother was a really good artist. He was a really good caricature artist over there. And he did a lot of calligraphy as well.
Okay.
So, and everyone's been practicing. Even my brother can draw. He's a cardiologist though. But yeah, we all have good hands in drawing.
Okay, that's good. We spoke about your favourite characters.
Yes.
Tell the audience, who are your favourite characters and why?
From which dimension do you want? From DC, the Marvels, or Star Wars?
Okay. Both.
Oh, okay. From Marvel, I prefer Spider-Man because I like the web swinging part. I grew up watching him. And from DC, I'd say I used to like Flash, but as the time went by and I started reading comics more, I preferred Superman like everyone else. So, yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. When you do graphic design, are you creating the characters yourself, or are you just taking someone else's characters and having to copy them or bring them to life?
Actually, it depends on the project, but mostly what I've done are work with bigger names like Goosebumps, and I've even worked with Marvel for some time.
Okay.
So yeah, they used to pitch us ideas like make this guy in this pose. So we make that superhero in that specific pose for them.
Is that like for a poster or like a cartoon?
For in-game. To be used in the games. Yeah.
Oh, to be so it all comes down to the games, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you get any leeway where you could say, how about the guy could be doing this, or how about the guy could be doing that?
Yeah. They're open to ideas.
Oh, so what inspires you? Because you've got to be very innovative when you're doing these characters. So what gives you that inspiration and motivation?
I used to be introvert back in the day, so I used to play video games and watch cartoons. So that was my inspiration. Since then, I wanted to work with these guys. So mostly, the comics, their artworks and everything. That's my inspiration.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you said between Spider-Man and, what's your two favourite characters, Spider-Man and
Superman from DC, yeah.
Who would win?
Superman, definitely. Spider ain't got anything on him.
Okay, that's a good one. So you've had an interesting career. You've worked with lots of different companies or contracted to them. What have you learnt over that time that you wish you knew when you started?
That it's a really difficult place to work. I thought if my hand was good, I could just lean back and draw stuff and get through with it. But making things is a lot harder than it looks. Like you have to learn the whole anatomy of the body just to get the muscles and everything right.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that's a bit tedious.
Do you work out yourself?
I used to, but I've let myself go for now.
Okay, don't worry. Haven't we all at times?
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So how do you learn it? How do you learn about the anatomy of the body when you're doing those characters?
I took biology in my O level, so that helped a lot into understanding how every muscle works. And if I can't get a quite good idea, I just try to flex my own muscles to see how that thing works.
Okay.
Yeah, if it's in that pose, I just grab my arm, take a picture in that pose, try to see how things work. So yeah, that usually helps me out.
I suppose looking at bodybuilders would be good.
Yeah, that's
because you'd see everything. That's really interesting. So what you're doing with that character, you're giving that physique, the ultimate physique.
Yeah.
So in every gesture, every movement, you're seeing that power, that flexibility.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. What's been the biggest hurdle for you during your career?
It was anatomy.
Just anatomy.
Yeah. I couldn't get the muscles right. So I had to study a lot. So yeah, I used to watch the gym competitions like Mr. World and everything just to see how things work. And I'm still learning about anatomy at the moment because the human body's a really complicated thing.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it looks like that it's complicated, but once you get into it, it really is. How the tissues and muscles work, depending on your physique and everything. Yeah.
I suppose. Excuse me. I suppose, depending on the kind of superhero you're drawing, would be the kind of muscles that would be defined.
Exactly.
Because if he's a big guy, bodybuilder structure, if he's athletic, you probably get like Superman.
Mm-hmm.
And if he's like agile, then you're going to get Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And you've got to take all those into consideration.
Yeah, and we have to exaggerate the body parts as well because they're comic characters. They have bigger chests than normal human beings. Some have bigger arms and stuff like that. So trying to adjust that just takes time. Yeah.
What that brings to light is, do you remember Incredibles?
Yeah.
Do you remember the mum with a really small waist, a big ass, the perfect breasts, that kind of thing? Very exaggerated.
Yeah.
But it was very sexual, but you didn't really, because it's a children's cartoon, you didn't really pay attention. You didn't really realise what it was, what it is, and that kind of thing. What does the future hold for you?
Future looks bright because most of the things are going digital now, so it's the digital age that's going to start. So mostly, if you know how to draw on graphic tablets rather than on paper, it's a really bright future for everyone who knows how to draw on computers rather than on paper. The paper days are gone now.
Oh, okay. But don't you feel that's a skill that will forever be needed, though?
Yeah, it's actually a fundamental skill that you need to start drawing on graphic tablets. You can't just be a beginner on graphic tablets. You need to start drawing on paper first, then you can advance to graphic tablets.
So when you say graphic tablets, is that a software?
Oh no, it's a board that you draw on it and it just displays everything on your PC. Yeah.
Very fancy, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking, when you're drawing on that board, you know when you write, your hand compresses on the board.
Yeah.
So you must have to write in a way that your hand is always free.
No, it's actually advanced in a way that you have a specific pen with you that's designed for that tablet, and it does a pressure sensitive thingy, and it only draws where the pen is.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the color, what you just highlight areas and it puts in the color? No,
we use different softwares for that. Like if you're drawing in Photoshop, it has a lot of color palettes and stuff. We can choose a color beforehand when we're drawing or coloring anything.
So you need to use two softwares?
No, you can use any software for drawing, but you need a graphic tablet to do that on a computer.
Oh, so graphic tablet's just
it's a hardware.
Yeah, I'm with you, and it's compatible with Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So like you have a keyboard or a mouse.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm with you. Did that take you a long time to master that?
Oh yeah, I took like 2 years to master
Really?
that.
That's a long time, man.
Yeah.
And I looking at you and having this conversation, I would say you're a dedicated man. You're a focused man. So if that took you 2 years, that's like 4 or 6 for other people.
Yeah.
And stuff. Yeah. Have you ever? Have you seen people come and go? So they came and they just realised it wasn't for them, or they couldn't get to grips with it.
Yeah, mostly that happens to a lot of people.
Oh, is it? What?
Yeah.
Why do you see that people go? What is it about the situation?
It's because the market is really competitive and you can find artists really easily, but if you want someone to draw something from their brain, like from their imagination, those guys are hard to find. The other artists are easy. Like if you want someone to draw a car, you just show him like a Toyota or something and he can draw it. But if you ask him to draw from his brain, that's the hard part.
So you need to be very creative.
Yeah.
You have a creative mind.
Yeah.
So on an interview basis, they would say, draw us here's a piece of paper, draw us a superhero.
Yeah.
And then they're going to see what you produce, and that tells them a lot about
Yeah.
what kind of, because if you just copy something similar to Spider-Man, they go,
Yeah, they're like, anyone can do that. Like,
Yeah.
anyone can learn to draw, but to imagine things, that's hard.
When you're imagining things,
Yeah.
what gives you, where do you get that ideas from? Where do you, because I know, for instance, if there's lots of, someone said that is it some horror movies,
Yeah.
they use creatures from the abyss in the ocean that people haven't really seen,
Yeah.
and they bring them to life, and they might give them legs.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? Like the alien thing and all
Yeah,
of
yeah.
that. Where do you get yours? Because there must be something that you kind of as a go-to.
Yeah, like I said, I was an introvert and I used to play games and read comics a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So those were mostly my inspirations. Other than that, yeah, mostly those, yeah.
So you don't use nature around you or anything, like animals?
I use nature, but that depends on what I'm drawing. Like if someone wants a druid or something like that, a spellcaster from the forest, then I'm going to look into a few trees, a few flowers to embed in it to make it look like it belongs in the nature.
Oh, I'm with you. That makes sense. Okay, that's good. What would be your advice to a young person who wants to get into your industry?
I'd say stay strong, listen to your seniors, and don't give up, mate, because you're gonna feel like giving up. It's really hard, but once you get through it, you can make it.
Okay. Do they need to have a degree to do your
No.
job?
I don't even have a degree in art, so
But you have lots of degrees. You listen, man. I can see you're an educated man.
yeah.
Okay. So, getting the job as, let's say you're someone who's just left school,
Yeah.
how would they do that? How would they get a job? Who would they apply to? Like a trainee position or that kind of thing?
Yeah, it'll be a training position first because the companies need to see how you draw, how fast you are, and in some cases, how your imagination works. So yeah, they're gonna start you off with a trainee, and if they like you, they're gonna hire you like in 6 or 4 months, like the probation period. Yeah.
Are there big companies who usually have? Excuse me. Are there big companies who are known for taking on trainees? If so, what are their names?
Yeah, Blizzard used to take trainees in first, and even Activision did. But now they're the same thing. Activision bought Blizzard, so most big companies do trainee programs, like summer programs for people who like to get into gaming and stuff.
Okay. And see like PlayStation and all those kind of things, do they take on trainees?
They actually, games are made by other companies like Blizzard or Activision stuff. So
Really? So PlayStation don't make no games.
Sony has a few titles with them, like Crash Bandicoot and stuff.
So they're hustling people then. They're just a middleman.
Yeah.
Oh, because they do they make the hardware.
Yeah, they make the hardware, and the other companies
And they
make
get
games.
other people to make games,
Yeah,
put their
exactly.
logo and then buy it.
Like PC, it's the same thing with PS and Xbox.
So, for instance, Call of Duty
Yeah.
is what it has the PlayStation logo on, does it?
Actually, no, it's on every
Okay.
medium. Yeah.
I'm just so I only know that game, but I'm just thinking of so PlayStation or Xbox will have that officially for one of their games, but
Yeah.
then the company who make that, I don't know their name, they will get royalties
Yeah.
for every game sold,
Yeah.
but they will kind of sell it to allow them, give them a contract to allow them to sell it for their devices.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm with you. So there's two sides to what you do then, because you've got the design and then you've got it bringing it to life, making it happen.
Yeah.
And stuff. If you could do it all again, what would you do different? And if so,
I'll draw more. Yeah, I'll really draw more. Learn anatomy as soon as possible.
okay, that's good. And would you draw anything? What would you draw? What would you draw more?
Like, I used to love comic books, so I would like to go for the comics part rather than computer games. Because computer games are a bit harder compared to comics.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Okay.
comics would be a bit easier, but getting into comics is really hard.
Why are computer games harder?
Because you have to consider all aspects. Like in comics, you can do 2D art only. For computer games, you have to consider 2D, 3D, and now there's VR and AR, like virtual reality and augmented reality.
Have you worked on that? The virtual reality game?
I worked on one virtual reality game back in Pakistan, but we didn't publish that.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
It was a test run for us, but it was a good one. We were just testing out things, like if we could manage making a game in VR in the future. So,
okay. I see
yeah.
what you mean. So how long does it take to create a game on average?
On average, it would, in my opinion, would take like at least 2 years.
Really?
Yeah, and that's a minimum.
I used to work in commercial construction.
Nice.
Building supermarkets, hotels, things like that. We build buildings faster than you create games. I don't know how long it takes. And you lot just got a keyboard. I don't know why it takes so long to do that.
A lot of things go in. People program stuff. We make stuff. They're animators. There are a lot of people working on a single game. Like animators, marketeers, artists, then animators. There are content designers. Then we have to test out our things. Are they looking good or not? Then we have to scratch them and make things from again. So yeah, it's a tedious process.
It sounds like it. Ooh. Okay. Well, you're learning something. You learned 2 years. I still can't believe that. I still really can't believe that. That's a long time. Mm-hmm. But you're happy in what you do.
Yeah, I am.
And you would you encourage other people to be in that industry?
Yeah.
What do you think about the future of your industry? Because you spoke about the virtual reality, and I don't own a PlayStation or anything like that because I'm a very addictive person. If I do something, I do it very hard, and I found that I stopped. Put it this way, I'm playing PlayStation, the Call of Duty, and I was there the same time the next day in the same position.
Okay.
And I said, I can't do this. As a man with children, I can't live that kind of life.
Yeah.
So I gave it away. And now I play the virtual reality. So I go to, there's a place in, where is it? Navatar in Ealing. You put the goggles on, you've got a gun. You haven't got those two things, you've got the actual gun. And you're shooting all the zombies and stuff. So I have a little treat. Just do that with my daughter or whatever, and then that's it. That's it. You know, that was your treat. You've been working hard or whatever. So what do you think is the future of? Do you think it's everything going to become virtual reality?
Actually, yes, it's heading that way. Like, have you heard about Facebook changing its name to Meta?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the whole virtual reality thing. Everyone's going crazy about it.
I'm going to ask you this question. Elon Musk
Yeah.
is putting chips in pigs' brains and monkeys' brains.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. You know the Matrix,
Mm-hmm.
where they put the attachment cable in the back of your head.
Yeah.
Yeah, that cable thing. Now, I was watching this they're talking about virtual reality and certain things, and they're saying eventually they want you to be able to feel, let's say you go on a date in the metaverse, or you have some food, that you can actually feel what it's like to be doing that.
Yeah, they're actually working on things like that.
Yeah, and I was thinking, along with Elon Musk's and everything, you kind of answered the question now. Have you seen anything like that?
I haven't seen anything like that yet, but I've heard people working on it. Like, they've tried the haptic feedback for the shooting games. It's not as hard as a real bullet hits you, but it gives a feedback on your chest, like the vibration thing. They're starting from that, and they're going to take it to actually tasting stuff or stuff like that.
So they're not putting a chip in your brain, in the back of your head?
At least not for
Okay,
now.
okay. Because I'll tell you another thing, when I played that virtual reality game,
Yeah.
when you were dying, because you had a kit on, you just had the goggles and the gum, but when you were dying, you became weak. And I mean physically you became weak. So what was happening, my daughter saying, Dad, I don't feel good, Dad! And I didn't feel good as well, because it turned out my daughter had shot me. But I was like, and I was finding it hard to stand up. I don't know how they did it.
It's mentally. It
worked.
plays with your brain.
No, because we was really struggling.
Yeah, because you were really immersed in that game. You were like really into it. You've seen a lot of videos on YouTube, yeah? People just going to the edge and the other guy pushing them while they're wearing goggles. And that guy actually falls down.
Yeah.
It's a mind game, yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. So you're at the pinnacle of the future. Do you invest in these kind of games? Can you invest in them when you know they're coming out? You've been working on them?
No, not me, because I work on a sidelines, not actually with them, like a third or fourth party studio. Like, they hire to make a few things. Like, I haven't worked actually with Marvel. I did a few contracts with them, but I can't mention their name in my portfolio. I can say it out loud, but not in my portfolio.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. They're hard, isn't it? They're hard. So you can say it on an interview, but you can't write it down.
Yeah, because to be honest, it's cheap labor back in Pakistan. Like, you could get a lot of things made quite cheaper compared to America or Europe. So yeah.
That's good. You've been a great guest. My last question to you is, based on your life experience so far, if you could leave the world with a gift, what gift would that be?
Oh, that's a hard one. I have to think about that. What gift would I leave the world with? I don't have much to give to the world.
Well, you do. You have a wealth of experience, don't you? Life experience.
Yeah.
And you also have a wealth of your career, what we've been talking about.
Yeah, I'd say just, I don't know. Like, I don't know how to answer that question. I seriously don't. What gift should I leave the world?
You don't know?
No.
Well, I'd say, not answering the question for you, but you're clearly in love with art.
Yeah.
So you'd leave them something in relation to your art, your skills of art.
Yeah, most probably.
Do you have a YouTube channel or IG channel?
No, sadly, I'm not that social on social media.
Because what I'm saying, that's a great place to put your work.
Yeah.
To just upload characters or things that you've done
Yeah, a lot of people have told me to make an Instagram.
Yeah, before you know it, you'll get followers, you'll get companies who ask you to do private work for them.
Yeah.
You start your own company.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll be saying, thank God for that taxi driver. He didn't just interview me, he inspires me. Yeah.
If I open a company, I'm seriously going to mention your name there.
Taxi Chronicles, Simon. Okay, we appreciate that. Apart from that, you've been a great guest. Glad to have you here.
Likewise.
And we'll get you home in 19 minutes. To the audience out there, do not forget to listen to our sister podcast, Africa Investor Stories, where we interview people from around the world who've invested in Africa and they share what it's really like to invest in the continent with the 33% of the world's known natural resources. And thanks again for the interview. And to the audience, I hope you learned quite a bit about the graphics, the Marvels, the DCs, and the PlayStation world, and for your young children to be inspired to go out there and get that job. We hope that episode enhanced your life. We post an interview every day as well as vlogging on our social media channels. Don't forget to subscribe to get our latest episode.